You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on a Friday as we get ready. All eyes on Steelers, Bears, Sunday, 1 o'clock at Soldier Field in Chicago. Will actually be a noon time local kickoff, but of course the 1 o'clock Eastern window. And, Matt, we've got plenty to get into today. We're going to talk to Missi Matthews.
I don't know if we can get it all in.
Yeah.
I know.
I tell you what, got to obviously go around the league, do 5-Star Friday, all that good stuff. But I wanted to start with you today. I mean, just kind of setting the scene as we typically do on a Friday. And you sent me a really good article by Nate Tice.
Yes.
Talking about the leveling up of this Bears offense, Caleb Williams' development, first year under Ben Johnson, all these different things. And, you know, I do think that it is clear Caleb Williams has improved.
Yeah.
But I think there's also a lot more to it for Chicago's success in winning 7 of their last 8 games.
1,000%. So this week has been my heart. I've said this a couple times over the course of the week. Getting a grip on this game has been really hard for me this week.
I agree with you.
And
on
a
that.
lot of it's just like these teams are so turnover dependent. Like, who gets more turnovers? I'm not going to talk 5 days about whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win this game.
Sure.
But it does feel that way in a big way. Like, who's going to protect the ball better? I trust the Steelers to protect the ball really well. That's a Tomlin thing. It's a Rodgers thing. I don't even know if he's playing. But I kind of came into the week going, boy, this Bears story is kind of cute. You know, they're doing the right things. Everything they did in the offseason's kind of working. I see their plan. If I was a Bears fan, I'd be so happy. You know, best thing since Ditka or whatever.
Sure.
They might have a quarterback for the first time in the 52 years I've walked the earth. You know, like, this is cool. But they really haven't beaten anybody, and they're in first place, and they might not even make the playoffs. And, you know, they're having a nice moment. And as we get deeper into it, and this article had a lot to do with it, but not entirely, really over the last 24 hours or so, I think their offense is really, really good. I mean, like, has turned the corner and is a legit offense. And I urge everyone to check this article out. It's on yahoo.com, Nate Tice. And Nate Tice is one of my favorite analysts out there. Kind of burst on the scene 4 or 5 years ago, I'd guess, something like that. And just to talk him up a little bit, I've spoken to him once or twice. He's not a friend. I don't know him well, but I have a lot of respect for him, and he's a good dude. He's Mike Tice's son, who was the head coach of the Vikings forever, big blocking tight end, tough guy, you know, Randy Moss's team. So he grew up in Minnesota watching daddy's teams, and, you know, and he actually did some coaching. He GA'd at Pitt, actually, for a year, so he has some local ties. His college career, he was Russell Wilson's backup quarterback at Wisconsin.
Nice.
So he's been around, you know, like, he knows some stuff. He's been
football,
around. Yeah. And now he's entirely media for Yahoo. He does a podcast I listen to pretty regularly. And this,
is he Bears-centric or
not
entire?
at all. Not at all.
Okay.
He's just total league-wide.
Gotcha.
And he has picked the Bears this week because I thought, I don't know why he picked them, but it makes sense. Because
they are one of the stories in the NFL right now,
right.
certainly.
But there's a lot of highlights from this article that made me, and I think our listeners will, fear the Bears and respect the Bears offense more. So I thought it was worth chatting about some of the highlights, you know.
Most explosive plays in the NFL this season with 87. Currently ranked second in explosive play rate does the Bears offense. They also lead the NFL this year in yards before contact per run play.
This just screams Lions. Yeah, and remember, this team is direct descendant of the Detroit Lions.
Yes. Dan Campbell coaching tree.
Exactly. And they run the ball really, really well. And you can give Caleb Williams a hard time because his completion percentage is very low. And he still throws too many rocket balls, and, you know, he's not a great touch passer, and accuracy is not his strength. But that's low on their list of what they're trying to do here. I mean, I forget who we were talking about just a couple weeks ago. Jordan Love. I'm like, he's a big game hunter.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams is a big game hunter. And they get a lot of explosives on the ground behind a good power run game. And they don't really they're kind of the anti-Steelers in terms of explosiveness.
It's like boom or bust, yeah.
And it's not, they don't take layup throws. I mean, they're taking three-pointers from half court. Right.
I was going to say, shooting Steph Curry threes from the logo.
Right, and they make a lot of them.
They're not trying to hit singles, and they're not trying to hit gappers into left field. They're swinging for the fences.
They bring up a lot of number 4 hitters with bellies and, swinging hard. And, right.
Now, but is that Lions-esque from Ben Johnson, or is that
different.
more so that's kind of how they've expanded? And
I think the quarterbacks
some of the
are
weapons
so
they
different.
have. Yeah,
because like the Lions are at the bottom of the league in deep passing percentage.
They just run the ball very successfully.
Run the ball great, and they throw a ton of intermediate stuff. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, those type of dudes, and that's what Goff's better at. Caleb Williams, it used to be late in he is the highest time to throw in the league. Amongst anyone qualified. And that used to be a negative because he loved taking sacks.
He loved taking sacks.
And that goes back, to college. And last year he was like on a historic pace for taking sacks.
Yes.
Now he holds the ball and shrugs people off. I've done a lot of shows since we got together yesterday, but Greg Cosell's one of my favorite.
Yep. And
I think we talked about this, but Greg compared him to Ben Roethlisberger in terms of difficult, early Ben. Difficultness, that's not a word, but you get it. Ability to put down in the pocket.
Yes.
Like shrugs off defenders
the
with
challenge
strength.
of getting this guy to the ground. Yeah.
And I think he's the hardest guy to sack now in the league, including Lamar. I mean, like in terms of buying time and the Houdini acts he does. I think a year in the league, he realized, I'm still one of the best athletes out here, but I'm not the 5-star playing against a bunch of high school kids anymore, or the first overall pick at USC playing against some accountants and some 7th-round picks. Everyone here can run and get me, but he really has a feel for his environment now, and he's got great spatial awareness, and he stings you, man. I mean, the thing that stood out to me most is unblocked pressures. Basically, that's when a great defensive coordinator devises a free runner, unblocked guy coming at you. He's the only quarterback in the league that has not taken a sack from an unblocked defender.
Wow.
I mean, only one. That's
the
hardest one.
He hasn't just improved. He's turned a weakness into a strength.
Exactly. And maybe he turns into a pumpkin. Maybe the Steelers sack him 15 times. You know what I mean? It's possible. Josh Allen got sacked 8 times last night. He didn't take sacks last year either. But it's pretty darn impressive.
At the start of the season, people were talking about if Ben Johnson would move on from Caleb Williams after the year. Now they're 7-3. You know this. Like I've talked with you about this. I think I've shared even a little bit on the show here. Like my morning routine, I'll take the girls to daycare, and then I come home, make some coffee, and I flip. What's on NFL Network? What are they talking about? What's on ESPN? What are they talking about? And like the topic on, I can't remember if it was First Take or Get Up or whatever was on ESPN when I was flipping through the channels this morning, was who are the Chicago Bears going to steal a playoff spot from? And it's like, man, they've come a long way.
They've come a long way.
And you're right. The pumpkin thing it's
still out there.
As much as we've said, hey, it wouldn't shock us if the Chiefs rattled off 6 wins in their next 7 games. It wouldn't shock us if the Bears went on a 3-game losing streak or something to that effect.
They've won a lot of games lately, yeah.
But I think that they are not just, here's a dangerous team who's got some explosives on offense and you really better be buttoned up. They are they're first place in their division, and
they've earned it.
We're less than a week away from Thanksgiving. They've earned their record, their respect. I know they've had the last place schedule, all those different things, but you can only play the teams in front of you. But you're like, man, that offense does feel like it has a lot of different ways to get after you. Run game, pass game. They don't have we talked about this. A lot of
skill guys that are good players.
We talked about this yesterday. They don't have a Jamar Chase level superstar, but they have got a lot of skill players who they can spread the ball around to.
Any 5 they put out there, all 5 are scary.
Yes.
To some degree. And they know how to use them.
When
they've truly leveled up. Yeah, I've used that term a lot lately.
They have.
That doesn't mean they're Super Bowl contenders, but they've leveled up.
When the offense is explosive as they are, only 6 turnovers on offense in 10 games.
That's the other thing, too. Is there's not all the negatives have gone away. I mentioned Josh Allen, and that's an unfair name to throw out there.
Sure.
But Allen went from the wild stallion, and last year when he won the MVP, the interceptions, the turnovers, the sacks all like vanished.
Plummeted.
Right?
That low light tape thing that we talked about yesterday.
And now Caleb Williams' low light tape used to be littered with because he loves taking sacks. But
it used to be a mini doc. I mean, it used to be a docu-series.
Right, like let's sit back and I better make some popcorn for this one.
Now it's like a quick little TikTok highlight video.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of times you're like, what were you thinking on that one? I mean, he pushes the envelope a lot, but whoa, because the ability's never been doubted at all.
Speaking of quarterbacks, before we go to break and get to Missi Matthews, because this is going to be something we're going to want to discuss with her, Mike Tomlin has said earlier today, that Aaron Rodgers will be listed as questionable for Sunday's game versus the Bears. He was a partial participant in practice on Friday. Mike Tomlin said, and I quote, "We'll see where the weekend leads us," end quote. I'm leaning towards he's playing.
That just tells me they might know the answer, but they're not telling anyone, nor should they. You have that advantage in your pocket, right?
But you and I kind of mentioned he was limited in practice on Thursday, which was good to see. Limited again today. I think that's didn't have any clear setbacks where he woke up today and was like, oh, man, this is worse than I thought after taking some snaps and doing a little bit on Thursday.
All across the league on Fridays, you see people ruled out. I mean, we're not down that road, that's for sure.
And I think we would have probably been a little surprised if Mike Tomlin would have come out today and said, hey, Aaron Rodgers is playing. He's good to go. But he was a limited participant again in practice today. Friday will be officially listed as questionable for Sunday's game.
Okay.
I'm leaning towards the answer to that question being playing.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too.
And however it plays out, in hindsight, we will say, oh, it was totally the right decision, or, oh, man, they should have given him the weekend off. But I think that
depends if they win or lose. That's all anyone cares
about. Exactly right. But we're starting to get a little more clarity in that regard.
Interesting.
Let's take a break here. Let's talk about that with Missi Matthews. Missi, she's been on some of these trips to Chicago in the past. Maybe she can help paint a picture for us as to why it's been a house of horrors.
That's what I was going to stress with her. What's it look like? What's the deal there?
30. I do those Friday quick hitters with Chad Tyson on DVE, and he was like, I knew that it had been since 1995 that the Steelers had won there. We said that yesterday. But when Chad was like, the Steelers haven't won in Chicago in 30 years. And when you frame like 1995 in some ways still feels like...
Part of me feels like 1995
was
yesterday.
Like 10 years ago.
It
was like 12 years ago.
Well, that was 30 years ago.
Chad's
I guess
like,
it was.
Like, man, wow, 30. Like, I'm 34. That was 30 years ago.
I was in college, yeah.
Yeah, I was probably out of diapers by that point. But not,
I was like in year 5 of college, right? Still had one to go.
Double M, Missi Matthews on the other side when we return. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here is a Friday as we are getting ready for Steelers Bears in the Windy City, a big one on Sunday. Joining us now to discuss, you hear the bounce, you know what that means. It's time to talk to the queen of the sideline, the great Missi Matthews, joining us as she's kind enough to do every single Friday here on The Drive. Missi, thank you for taking the time as always. All right, let's get right into it. We've heard the latest on the Aaron Rodgers status, limited participant in practice today, questionable for Sunday's game, 2 days of limited practice this week. What's your confidence scale that it will be Aaron Rodgers to start the game under center, or do you still think that this is really kind of up in the air, a coin flip type decision?
Guys, I really feel like this is a up in the air situation. Now, I will say I feel like when Coach Conlon lists somebody as questionable, there's usually a better chance they play than they don't.
Yeah, good point.
I also lived through the Cleveland game where Ben Roethlisberger was backing up Landry Jones, and Landry got hurt, and Ben came in and broke every backup record. I've seen that happen, and I also think maybe it is just like figuring out if Aaron is comfortable enough with said brace contraption, whatever you would like to call it, that he's wearing on his left wrist. So I truly don't know. I mean, I feel like because it's Chicago, and I know Aaron won't say that, he's going to want to play even more, but I just don't know. I don't know. I don't have a feeling one way or another.
So, Missy, but in the first segment, we kind of ended it just talking about how the Steelers have not won in Chicago in 30 years. I mean,
95.
A long time. And they don't go there often. It's like once every 8 years or so. But still, it's kind of been a house of horrors for them. I mean, Philadelphia is that way. I remember Wolf used to talk about hating to go to Seattle. There's no good memories there. I mean, they always used to say going to Oakland was a terrible thing. Yeah, right. Is there anything behind the Bears thing? It's not like they've been one of the best teams in the league. You've been there, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the last time I was there was, the crazy game with everything with the national anthem pregame.
Oh, yeah.
Vance McDonald had a crazy hustle play to end the first half. I don't know. I don't get the house of horrors feeling from Chicago like I do some of those other places. I completely agree. But it does feel like, how is it possible that you've won one game in that city? So I don't know. Hopefully that's something that the Steelers can change, whether Aaron Rodgers starts or not, since he's a partial owner of Chicago. I don't know. Maybe he'll bring some good luck.
It's one of those, how like you'll hear from Vegas, home field advantage is worth 2.5 points, and all these different things. Like Aaron Rodgers in Chicago has to be worth at least
a little something,
a little extra, like an extra 5, 6, 7 points, something in that regard to move the line. Missy, obviously a crazy game against the Bengals last week, particularly a second half in which the Steelers defense had 2 touchdowns to really put the game on ice. One, of course, the pick 6 by one of the newer Steelers, Kyle Duggar, and then the scoop 6 by one of the, I think, hottest Steelers, in best form Steelers, in James Pierre. Matt and I talked about this a little bit this week, and I'd like to see if you agree. Over the last, let's say, 3 games, 12 quarters or so, maybe setting aside that fourth quarter against the Chargers where the Steelers' defense was gassed and worn down, and it just felt like the dam kind of broke with some big plays for L.A. Does it feel like these last few weeks we've seen that Steeler defense becoming the unit that we all kind of expected them to be? Can you feel that momentum and that confidence and that belief on the sideline?
Yeah, and I truly believe Jalen Ramsey staying, back at safety has brought some of maybe that cohesion, that stability that we've talked about the past few weeks. I think Kyle Duggar has come in and just done a commendable job of, jumping on the moving train and doing it well. And, for Jalen Ramsey to be impressed by what he was able to do that first game out with the Steelers coming from New England. And I think it's what Terrell Austin talked about this week. We're not seeing these crazy explosive plays that they're giving up like we saw a la in Cincinnati, just getting gashed for different things. Now, of course, as you said, in LA, things started getting off the tracks a little bit in the second half. But, I mean, that defense played a lot of minutes. And it felt like they did everything, they could do to try to stop the bleeding, but it just wasn't possible because the offense couldn't possess the ball or move it there. So maybe it's a little bit of that. And I think also, some of the younger guys, Derek Harmon starting to come along, feel more comfortable. Keanu Benton, I think, has done a great job as well. So hopefully it's something where they can continue building off of it and can, put another step forward in Chicago on Sunday.
Yeah, you seem to agree that a lot of things have kind of come together favorably, where I think the coaching staff has a better feel for where to put their players. We have some new players we're looking at now, new players in new positions like Ramsey, and also some guys that we didn't count on originally. Jack Sawyer, Pierre, I mean, have all stepped up and done their job. I mean, we don't need them to be the next Lambert and Ham, but they've been quality contributors when called upon.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, I do think, okay, you had all these amazing pieces. Some of them you knew, some of them were new. You're excited about the shiny new toys. And it did just feel like how they were put together at first and how things were going was not adding up. Clearly, injuries played a major role into moving pieces, lack of communication or consistency there. I think, losing Deshaun Elliott twice was huge for this defense, not having him back there. But I do think that they've kind of found a way to make it work with what they have right now. And they still, Alex Highsmith was hurt. Darius Slay got hurt. There's still moving parts within the past few weeks. So hopefully, knock on wood, they can stay healthy and get some more guys back and, get some more of the consistency of what they want this defense to look like and be able to stack consistent games too, I think, and just performances, because it feels like that's what they kind of need at this point, instead of it being like a crazy game against the Colts and then a letdown. So hopefully we're taking a step in the right direction that way.
It's certainly a huge challenge awaits in that department with a Bears offense that has leveled up, a quarterback that's leveled up, a lot of different pieces across that Chicago offense that can make plays and that you have to account for. For the Steelers, though, Missy, I tell you what, Darnell Washington, if he was maybe one of the best kept secrets in the NFL for a while, that is no longer the case. Certainly,
he stands out a little bit.
He stands out a little bit, both in his physical stature and with the plays that he makes with the football in his hands. Particularly the one that we saw where I think he left 3 Bengals in tatters on the field there at Acrisure Stadium on Sunday. Won him Angry Runs, the weekly award by Kyle Brandt on the NFL Network. Missy, I feel like we always go back to like asking you about things on the sideline, but you have such a unique perspective in that regard. What was that moment like down there where, Darnell Washington stiff-armed a guy and then ran over a guy and ran somebody else over? I mean, that had to be one of those kind of time capsule moments for the season on the sideline.
Yeah, Darnell's definitely not somebody you can hide. Can't keep him a secret. There's a box big enough to put him in.
I bet you he was really bad at hide and seek back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I see his feet sticking out. Funny, he doesn't fit there. But no, I mean, so
I have to play
can't
with Max, and
you would not want him.
Yes.
He's not the first round pick and Ghost in the Graveyard. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No, big people hide and seek only for him. But I can't see sometimes the faces of the people that are like directly in the front. It depends on where Coach Tomlin is. If I'm at an angle where I can kind of look down, but let me tell you, watching it live in person happening and like oohing and awing, oh my gosh, like everybody, I did it myself. Like camera people were doing it. Even one of the EMS workers I was standing by just like turned around and was like, whoa. And I was like, it was crazy. And then you watch the video from the replays and you see Davion, who's one of the athletic trainers, his face, I think, is one of the ones that Kyle Brandt pointed out. DY, who is player personnel guy, player engagement, he was one of those guys too. And it's just insane to see. And it lit that sideline on fire. It didn't matter, what side of the ball you were on, or, if you were playing or not, inactive, had a helmet. People were juiced after that. And it was just crazy. And I think Aaron Rodgers said it best, that like people are getting scared of him now, and they should be. Like, I think he called him a mammoth. And you don't know if he's going to hurdle you, stiff arm you, just block you, push you, but like something bad is usually going to happen. And I love that, Mason Rudolph, when he talked about that play and about just Darnell in general, he said, look, he gets in sometimes Wednesdays and Thursdays earlier than me. He's a big time studier. This isn't a guy who's just, using his God-given physique and abilities. He's putting in the work too. And I think you are really starting to see that. I think Aaron being inquisitive about this large mammoth, as he called him, in training camp, and like, what can we do with him, was interesting. And I just think it's really all starting to come together with him. And it makes you realize why the Steelers drafted him at that spot when maybe there were, another position of need, quote unquote, that they could go after. But he's a pretty special, unique player who, I would make a business decision if I had to go, head to head with Darnell Washington.
Missy, last thing I have for you is we do that matchup show every Thursday, and it seems like every week where one of us picks Steelers need to run the ball better or need to run the ball more, and we've seen glimpses, but it never quite comes around. I think this week it's extra important in a game that turnovers are so key. These teams are both so great at it, and the Chicago run defense isn't very good.
Yeah, I think for the reasons you all stated, and because the Steelers just need one of those games where the offensive line is like signaling first down and getting into it. It reminds me of like Dublin, when the quiet guys of the team, the Zach Frazier's and Mason McCormick's are all ready to go for it. And I think, too, the time of possession, again, we talk about running the ball, but time of possession plays into that because it is true. What is going to happen in terms of who wins the turnover margin? I was just listening to one of the Bears podcasts that their team produces, and they were even saying, like, man, on special teams, like their coordinator was taught and mentored by Danny Smith. So he's thinking already, like, what? Is he going to pull out a play from 20 years ago? Like what's going to happen there? And I think because both defenses like to play takeaway, you do have to possess the ball to be able to run some clock as long as you're getting points. So I do think running the ball will help all facets of this game. And clearly time of possession, like I just want it to be like a 5-minute plus win for the Steelers in time of possession. At some point down the rest of this season, because it just feels like that is one thing they cannot get.
Certainly something that we would like to see. They won that time of possession by the slimmest of margins this past Sunday.
Yeah,
let's beef that up a little bit Sunday in a city that's known for their beef sandwiches. I'm sorry, I had to. Missy, thank you so much for your time as always. The great Missi Matthews, queen of the sideline. Thank you, Missy, and I'll see you on the plane tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
There she goes, Missi Matthews, Double M, with the view from the sideline.
I missed my opportunity. I was going to mention the article about you guys.
Oh, you mean to call her back? Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was really cool, yeah.
That was, I think, the nicest. So what Matt is referencing is the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And
that was on my list to mention to her, and we let her slide.
Let's call her back. The Noah Hiles of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette kind of shadowed our broadcast team for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And just everything that goes into the Steelers game day broadcasts was down at the facility with you guys all for a day.
That Thursday show I referenced, he was down there just taking notes.
Went over to Rob King's house and, watched how Kinger preps and does film, and then hung out, met myself and Dan Quinlan early Sunday morning before that Bengals game and saw how we set up and everything that goes into it and hung out with us throughout the broadcast. Really cool story that published.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That published today, and it was funny. Like my family was texting me, and they were like, "This is the nicest thing anybody has said about you or anything." Like, we all got some nice love from Noah in that article. But Noah said, "Hey, are you ready for this?" I mean, Matt, this is the nicest thing I think anyone's ever said about me. At 8:45 a.m. Sunday, with fewer than 24 people total spread throughout the press box, Wes Uhler's presence was impossible to ignore.
Oh.
Those far away could hear his playful, seemingly always upbeat voice as he bounced around the halls. Those close to him couldn't help but be impacted by his consistent smile. The audio engineer for the Steelers radio broadcasts, who also works as an on-air talent, his positive energy set the tone for the day ahead.
Wow. How many Benjamins did that cost you to
Just
give
a few
Noah?
hundred.
Okay.
I mean, thanks, Noah. Checks in the mail. Tyler's over there shaking his head.
Yeah.
Tyler, you're going to need to get a chainsaw and cut open that door larger because my head's not going to be able to fit in and out of this room with the ego boost that Noah Hiles. But no.
Everybody should check the article out. It's
really
good.
cool stuff about how Rob prepares for a game, just kind of him and Missy and Max and the balance that they have and how they come up with the topics that they want to make sure and hit on throughout the show. It was you got a shout out in the article as well too for the stats.
Yeah, I think something about Matt's stats went in there or something.
That you provide. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We should have brought that up with Missy. But
No doubt. I was planning on it.
Next time. Next time they write a feature article.
Next week it'll still hold up. I want to hear what you say about it.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff from Missy, and looking forward to another great broadcast with the team on Sunday in Chicago. When we come back on the other side, let's talk more about the Bears, a little bit on their road ahead and how important this is for them, kind of like the Steelers. And, Matt, we still haven't done this week. We got to do this before I forget. We got to do our Chicago Bears pick-a-player exercise,
This one's actually better than most.
I was doing a Matt Williamson and laying there in bed last night thinking about it.
Yeah.
Would I go, here?
This guy's pretty good.
This guy's pretty good.
Yeah, right.
This guy's so young. And
there's some options.
there are some options. We'll get into all of that as we wrap up the first hour of the program. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on the drive here as we are continuing to set the scene, set the stage for Steelers, Bears, and Matt, some bad news for the Chicago Bears. 3 linebackers, 3 starters.
I'm glad we're going down there. Their linebacker situation is rough.
Ruled out for
they're ruled
Sunday.
out already. Okay.
According
Edmonds.
according to Adam Schefter, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, and Noah Sewell all out for Sunday against the Steelers.
That's their top 3 guys.
That's their top 3 linebackers, all ruled out for Sunday's contest.
Now, it hasn't been a Steeler specialty, but I think you have to throw in the middle of the field and feature some of these tight ends a little bit more, too.
Totally.
Crossing routes, all that type of thing, too, because this defense makes a lot of mistakes. They have some alignment errors and allow some big plays anyway. And now you take all those communicators and athletes out of the middle, and Sewell's kind of he's Penei Sewell's brother.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of a downhill banger. Edmonds is the every down money guy, and that's their top 3 dudes. That's a big deal.
That's a huge deal for them.
And you also got to question the run fits and all that kind of stuff too. But
absolutely, and the communication communication standpoint, like you say,
they don't do a great job of protecting their linebackers either. Like they play Grady Jarrett a lot, who's well past his prime, and he's a gap shooter, smaller, overage guy.
And you had also mentioned Kyler Gordon a little bit yesterday. He is in that 21-day window to be, designated from return from reserve and IR. He is listed as questionable for Sunday.
Okay. He's actually under consideration for who I'd snag from the Bears. I mean, he's that good.
Okay. We're going to get there in just a second.
Okay.
Just a second. A couple others that we had discussed yesterday who were on their injury report. Darnell Wright, full participant, cleared for Sunday. Joe Thuney, full participant, cleared for Sunday. DeAndre Swift, full participant, cleared for Sunday. Grady Jarrett, full participant, cleared for Sunday.
Is Johnson on there, the corner? I thought he was earlier.
Jalen Johnson, right?
Yes.
He is also listed as questionable. So him and Gordon are both in that coming off of IR 21-day listed as questionable.
That's their 2 best defensive players. And what's amazing is they have all these takeaways with these 2
out,
hardly playing now.
Yeah.
You're right.
So they are at best going to have 1 or 2 starting defensive backs potentially who are not 100% healthy and are just coming off of IR.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be down 3 starting linebackers.
I kind of get the impression Johnson's likely to play, Gordon's unlikely to play. But they're probably both listed as questionable.
They are both listed as questionable.
Yeah. Just the hunch I got and just the stuff I've read,
And so that's the latest with the Chicago Bears and some of the status of some of their key contributors, particularly, again, on a lot of names there on the defensive side of the football.
Right, which is their weakness to begin with. Right.
Yes.
Maybe there's going to be more points here than we think.
Maybe.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Maybe. We will continue to monitor all of that as we roll along here. But you know what, Matt? Let's get into that
in
now.
a minute. I opened the show saying my tune has changed on the Bears.
Tell me.
And in a very positive manner. We talked about that Tice article, et cetera. My tune changed on something else, too.
Okay.
When you have 30 minutes and 5 seconds of time of possession.
We're going to continue to read this.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're 10 seconds more, not 5.
So like what played out with the Steelers.
Right.
So
They didn't have a 5-second advantage. They have a 10. I'm on the Pursuit train now. I jumped
You're
ship.
telling me, Matt Williamson, that on a Friday you're going to drop this bomb on me.
I know we don't have time.
You're
but
betraying me and you're joining the other side of the aisle on this one.
I am.
This is like when Hulk Hogan joined NWO.
Exactly. And here's why. Somebody tweeted me and just convinced me. And
I
said,
saw that tweet.
Okay, if you have 50 cents and I have 50 cents and I give you a penny, you have 2 cents more than me.
When you bring money into you see this, Tyler, you bring money into the equation, it changes everything.
Right. It's like, I don't have a penny more than you. You have 2 pennies more than me. I think it's a tough one. It's a tough argument to fight.
But if you look at it in that context, you're absolutely right. But what if we look at it in the context of you and I go to the bank and we take $1 and we get 100 pennies back? Mm-hmm. And I have 51 and you have 49.
You still have 2 more than me.
Do I, though?
You could buy 2 more penny candies than I can.
I don't know, because if I give you one of those pennies, then we have the same. So do I really have 2 more pennies than you?
If you have 51 and I have 49,
but
if 2 more than me.
But if I give you 1, then we're on level footing.
I think money just shows that we're wrong. Because I just admit it. I mean,
I would like to be a humble and contrite radio host and admit that we were wrong, and the point that listener, I wish I could. It was
a while ago. It'd take a lot of scrolling.
It would take a lot of scrolling back to find, but I do remember seeing that tweet a few days ago. But I don't know. I might just stick my head in the sand and be prideful here. You know,
I hear you.
I change my ways.
Okay, you'll get wiser with age.
I'm not going to let you all gaslight me. Okay.
All right, what were we about to talk about? Were we plucking a bear?
Yeah, let's pluck a Chicago bear here before we go way down this rabbit hole.
I know we don't have a ton of time today, so we'll be quick.
No, we do.
Okay.
We got nothing but time.
All right, cool.
We got nothing but time.
These are my candidates.
Okay, give me your candidates.
Both those defensive backs.
Yeah, I think Jalen Johnson has to be in the conversation.
Yes. The only negative with Johnson is big contract.
Yes.
He's not super old, but he just signed a big contract. He's coming off his first contract, so he's 26-ish. But he's that outside man corner, opposite Porter. Oh, baby. You know what I mean? Like, now that problem, you're not talking about Pierre and Slay and drafting one. I mean, you're just done. Gordon, to me, is that super underrated position in today's NFL that's a nickel /
the Brian Branch position.
Yeah.
The Cooper DeJean position.
And the way I've been describing that lately is it's just the rug that brings the room together. You know, like...
all right, Lebowski.
It's just... Whatever you want to do on defense, you have that guy. And frankly, Ramsey's that guy as a slot. But I think he's a safety now. If I had Gordon, he's definitely a safety the rest of his career.
If it's Ramsey a couple years ago, he's perfect for that.
Yeah, and he's still really good at it. You know, he can do he can blitz, he can play the run. He's, take the slot receiver, he can take the tight end. And he's cheap. He's injured now, but I'm not going to hold that against him. He doesn't have like this massive injury history. Those are the only 2 on defense I would consider.
The 2 defensive backs.
Yes, although I do like 2 of their defensive linemen. Sweat, he's also expensive, but he's an edge player.
No doubt.
I just don't think the edge is a huge need. And Gervin Dexter is one of my favorite young D tackles. I bet he does something in this game. People are like, oh, Matt told me about Gervin Dexter. He's an ascending.
I like Brisker in their secondary as lot too, but he's a strong, and it's like we've talked about. You've got a lot of those.
I'm glad you mentioned him though, because he'd be
you've got a lot of those left shoes.
Yeah.
Where if he was a right shoe, maybe it's a different conversation, but you've got a lot of those left shoes already.
I agree with everything you said. That's definitely a good way of looking at that one, because he's a good young player too, and he's cheap. Your boy Darnell Wright is really, really attractive.
Imagine being the head coach that didn't recruit that guy out of his own backyard. I'm sorry. After today, I'll be done bringing it up.
But the negative on him is now I got to move Troy back to left.
Sure.
And I don't like the
movement. And you're about
to
have to pay Darnell as well.
Soon,
he's
any minute.
Like this offseason, yeah.
But I mean, in a vacuum, if I didn't, if Jones was more valuable than Fautanu, which he isn't, I would take Darnell Wright. Or if Wright was strictly
a left.
Right, left is a right tackle. I've been doing that all week.
Now we're cooking, baby.
The WRIGHT tackle. Anyway, so I would love him. But now Fautanu, who was a left tackle at Washington, so comfortable at right.
The same thing same thing we've just talked about with Broderick Jones over the last year, of moving around, and
he'd probably do fine. But do I want him to take any kind of step back in this process? Not really. Quarterbacks aren't allowed, and that leads to Dunze.
I think it's Wright or Odunze. That, to me, is the conversation.
Odunze would really be a perfect compliment to me.
I think for the current Steelers right now, today, November 21st, 2025.
Is he a second-year guy?
I think he's the answer because he's cheap for a few more years. He complements DK well.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever happens post Aaron Rodgers, you're like, hey, look at this nest we've got built on the offensive line and some real weapons for you.
Yeah. Your next quarterback or whoever would be thrilled he's there.
Like if I'm a different team and I've got my money spent on the offensive side of the football, I'm taking one of those two corners. But if I'm the Steelers right now, I'm like, man, I would love to add a playmaking piece like that. That's as much as I'd love to go with my West Virginia native son, Darnell Wright.
You're taking Odunze.
I think I'm taking Odunze again specifically because that's what this exercise
the
is.
whole exercise
for the
about.
Steelers right now. You got to add one.
That's why
player.
the Bears are one of the best teams to talk about.
They are
because there are some really good candidates. I'm taking Johnson.
Yeah,
I don't love spending the money, but this team has cap space. I don't usually even go down that road, but I mean they do have cap space. And if I can have 2 man corners, the rest of the defense would level up in a massive way. A massive way. I mean,
that's a real nice luxury to have.
Yeah, and I just think I can find I'll draft a receiver in the second round, but I don't want to always be looking for that.
Agreed. If he was a couple years younger, I think Joe Thuney would be in this conversation.
Oh, 1,000%.
But he's 33, 34 now,
and expensive.
Mm-hmm. If he was 30 and expensive, that's one thing.
I mean, I don't think CMall is likely to be back next year, and you'd upgrade at left guard.
Oh my gosh, he's one of the best in the league
every year. Yeah, so they're a good team to talk about.
They were, I think, one of the more loaded, one of the more enjoyable ones.
And I could see like 5 different avenues.
There's a lot of fair arguments you could make.
Yeah, I don't see any wrong answers for any of those.
And that's again, that's without us.
I mean, Wright's hard to turn your back on. Offensive tackle and not yet in his prime. It keeps getting better, right?
Oh. And obviously, we did all of that fun discussion and leaving Caleb Williams out of it.
Oh, he'd be the pick.
If quarterbacks are allowed, he's the obvious answer, right? Yeah, I think that's
So another fun game we'll do probably this offseason is whatever the Steelers end up picking in the draft, say it's 20 or 25 or whatever, would you give up that pick in next year's first for Kyler Murray?
No.
But I would forget. But Caleb Williams is a yes.
Yes.
I want to go through the whole league.
Drake May, I give up even more.
Right. But we're gonna play that game sometime.
Love
too.
it.
Because maybe you are actually going to use those picks to trade up to 5, and if that person turns into Trevor Lawrence, do you do it? But if he turns into Caleb Williams, yes.
You'll laugh. I was talking to one of my cousins on the phone last night, and he's a big football dork as well too. Mm-hmm. He's the one he's the athletic director at the school in Virginia. He was the defensive coordinator at his old high school forever, and then became athletic director. And we were kind of we were talking about the quarterbacks, and that because he always loves the around campus segment, and I always email him that around campus packet as well. And he's like, I'm not really feeling these guys. He's like, I got to be honest with you, I'm not feeling. And so we were playing the okay, Fernando Mendoza or Cam Ward, Fernando Mendoza or Jackson Dart or Dante Moore or Cam.
We'll play that game too.
We were playing that game last night, having some fun doing that. Matt, just real quickly, too, before we go to break, man, this is an important one for the Bears when you look at their schedule ahead.
So real quick, if you check my Twitter, I just retweeted it before I came here. This is one of the biggest playoff implication games of the weekend, even though, actually last night's game was huge, too.
Last night's game was massive.
Massive. And, boy, Houston survived. But considering these teams aren't in the same division, aren't in the same conference, it's pretty crazy how big a discrepancy the winner and loser change in this game.
Bears with a win, 66% chance to make the playoffs. With a loss, 35% chance.
That's a huge difference for one game against a non-conference opponent.
Steelers surprises me a lot, too. With a win, still just 50% chance to make the playoffs with a win.
Yeah.
With a loss, 22%.
Think about that. Because part of it is the Ravens are 14.5-point favorites against the Jets.
Absolutely. The Ravens with a win are now 74% all of a sudden. I don't know if I agree with that, but who am I to argue the analytics and the numbers?
I mean, I could see it if Steelers lose, Ravens win. Maybe not go up to 74, but that would be huge for Baltimore.
Absolutely, but I still
But
don't
if
think
they
I'd drop
both
the
win-
Steelers down to 22% chance.
I know.
That seems really low.
Seems really low, just with a loss. I mean, still a winning record.
That whole, like, the Bears haven't played anybody, which I think I never like that argument in the NFL because it's not Ohio State versus Akron. But
we had this Colts conversation, too, just a couple weeks ago.
If Chicago makes the playoffs, nobody will be able to say that it was unearned because
I know.
Steelers this weekend, then at Philly, then at Green Bay. It's a tough 3-game stretch. Okay, then they get the Browns at home, should win that one.
Yes.
Then they get Green Bay at home again. So they got to see the
2 against Packers.
2 in the span of 3 weeks. Man, the schedule makers were in their bag with that one. Then they have to go to San Francisco, then they host the Lions.
Okay.
So right now, Matt,
Those 2 Packers and Lions games are looming.
proverbial, if the season was over today, 6 of the last 7 teams that the Bears play are all in the playoffs right now.
Just not the Browns.
Just not the Browns.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. Their schedule has been fortunate to this point. But if they earn it, if they do end up winning that division or getting a wild card, no one could say that it was just because they had an easy schedule. Because this back half is tough.
I mean, if they go 500 the rest of the way, they could be in the hunt.
They're 7-3 now.
10 or 11 wins.
10, I think, probably gets you in. 11, I would feel
I bet
definitely
10
does.
doesn't win that division, though. Not with the Lions and Packers in it.
But if they win the right
Depends
ones.
which ones. Yeah. Good point.
Oh, baby, a lot on the line Sunday in
Yeah,
Chicago.
the road is narrowing, as you and Coach Tomlin say a lot.
The road is narrow. I've been told that myself and Mike Tomlin have a real way with words. Let's get into some of these specific matchups to start our number 2. Little 5-star Friday to kick us off on the other side. Uhler, Williamson, halfway home. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2, final hour of the week here on The Drive as we get ready for Steelers, Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago, a place the Steelers have won just once since the 1930s. Yes, it's not like they play there all the time, only about once every 8 years, but still a historic matchup. A lot of fun storylines in this one.
Yeah, there are.
And I think just in general, it's always exciting to see these teams that you only get to play every few years, particularly when it's, one that is on the rise and moving in the right direction like Chicago is right now.
I think you're excited to go, see the place and see the city. And
absolutely.
Don't you have a Bulls game lined up or something, too?
May or may not be going to the Chicago Bulls game tomorrow night, maybe with a group of people that includes one of the guests that we just had on the show in the previous. In fact, our Queen of the Sideline might have been the one who procured the tickets for everybody.
Look at that.
As well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. My dad's from Chicago.
I've been to like 2 NBA games in my life.
I love It is, the way you hear people talk about, like, I don't know, diddly squat about hockey, but I go to a game and it's a blast.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's NBA for me. I don't really
the athleticism in me is like, whoa.
I mean, I know the Oklahoma City Thunder won the NBA championship last year. Like, I'm not completely ignorant to the league, but I
tune in the playoffs.
I watch a little bit in the playoffs, but
I say this every year. I always have to ask my friends every year, like, who's good again?
Who's good, yeah.
What team's this guy on? Like, yeah.
But every time I've gone to an NBA game, I enjoy myself. Like, my dad and I used to go watch the Bulls play in Cleveland every once in a while when I was growing up. I lived in Philadelphia for 3 years. My wife's a pretty big basketball and Sixers fan, so we would go to 2 or 3 Sixers games a year those years. Matt, the way those dudes get up and down the court and
Oh,
jump,
the
and,
athleticism.
it's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
It
yeah.
is.
Even going to a college game, a big time college
It's
game.
awesome.
Wow.
You got to get to a Kentucky game at some point
I know. I want
while
to,
your
just
son's
to see
there.
The athletic ability.
Oh
right?
my goodness, it's impressive. So yeah, little Chicago Bears, and I think they got Chicago Bulls, pardon me, against the Phoenix Suns, I believe it is, tomorrow night at the house that Michael Jordan built. Yeah, it's all happening this weekend in the Windy City. Matt, I want
Not
to...
quite the same. I'll throw one thing out there
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Is that year that I was director of football ops with Akron, the St. Vincent St. Mary team is right there.
Yeah.
Where LeBron
Where
was.
LeBron...
It's the year he was coming out.
Storied high school program.
And a lot of LeBron's friends
Went to Akron.
went to Akron.
Yeah.
They didn't go straight to the NBA and be the first overall pick, but they were really good players. So LeBron came to like every Zip game as like a 17, 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And, like we offered him a
I was
scholarship
going
when
to
I
say,
was
you'd
at
be
Pitt.
like, I could use this guy at tight end right now.
We offered when I was at Pitt the year before. We offered him a scholarship to play wideout. I mean, probably threw that in the trash, but I mean, he was there all the time. We'd be like, that guy's going to be the first pick in the draft.
I can see it. I can definitely see it.
Yeah, he had a nice car.
Yeah, I'm sure. Wasn't he driving a Hummer when he was like 16? Which that was.
Yep.
I remember that being a big story one day.
Sports Illustrated actually did an article about LeBron as a high school player, and the head coach at Akron, J.D. Brookhart, was our wide receiver coach at Pitt. So both of us were quoted, because we both watched them at St. Vincent St. Mary.
That's pretty cool.
Just going up. He didn't want to. I mean, like he didn't go over the middle.
Sure.
I mean, like he kind of knew where his bread was. He wasn't getting hurt. Like they threw him jump balls and he'd go. Sky.
He'd just go moss some poor 5'10" kid who's gonna be in business school in college in a couple months.
And he didn't have like the shoulders then. I mean, like he was a lot. I mean,
lankier.
but still, But he could go up and get it.
He looked like he didn't belong, and I mean that in a good way.
In a huge way, right.
Like
I wonder if he did this full time, but like he wasn't going over the middle and like blocking linebackers and stuff.
Sure.
Like, blow his knee out playing.
That's hilarious.
High school football.
Matt, let's. I want to pick your brain a little bit here about some of the biggest matchups to keep an eye on. Of course, Sunday, 1 o'clock at Soldier Field between the Bears and the Steelers. Just a little exercise that we do here every Friday, simply named 5-Star Friday.
We're humbled and excited to be in these 5-star matchups.
5-star matchup. Somebody leaving here with a loss. Not going to be us.
All right, Matt. Steelers defense, Bears offense. We know the names, but where does it start specifically for the Steelers on that side of the ball? Does it begin with limiting DeAndre Swift in the run game? Does it begin with silencing Adunze and some of these talented pass catchers? What are some matchups that you're really circling, really looking for as it relates to Steelers defense against the Bears offense?
The short of it, and this is on both sides of the ball, and we already kind of talked about it, is who runs the ball better and turnovers. So let's just get them out of the way. They're the two headlines.
Football 101 type game in that regard.
But these teams are so good at creating turnovers, so turnover dependent. I think that is massive in this game. I love that Missi threw out the special teams nugget too. About
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That their special teams coach learned from Danny, because I think some of that hidden yardage stuff's really important here too. But their run game is a real handful to deal with. And boy, Merrill Hodge was really high on my nun guy. I mean, just that he is a nasty.
He's a great back, great kind of like the hammer that we've talked about that you want in your running back room.
Yeah, and they're getting more out of Swift than anybody else has. But one I wanted to concentrate on is, so their left tackle is a backup, and he's been okay, but Wright is really, really good at right tackle. I wonder, kind of like the Colts, are they going to say, Darnell, you're playing so well at right tackle, we're going to go help lefty here and leave you with Watt, which is kind of what the Colts did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a gutsy move by any team, even if it's Lane Johnson or, Penny Sewell, or we saw Lane Johnson versus Watt last year. And, that was a great battle. But what if Wright can handle him reasonably well? Or if that's just a draw, like, okay, I lose once or twice, and I'm sure they'll help him some. And they play a lot of bigger people. There'll be a lot of tight ends on the field. But I'm just curious how they help and deploy their offensive tackles, because the right side tackle is way better than the left side. The interior is really good. Right tackle's great. Left tackle's bad. We just haven't brought that up yet this week.
No, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Because that's the position that you want this Steelers front to put opposition in.
Yeah.
That you have to decide where you're going to kind of pick your poison in that regard. And
even if Highsmith doesn't play, but still Herbig's a problem.
It would make sense if you're thinking, okay, like, yeah, TJ is the guy who has the penchant for wrecking games, has that impact that has become his calling card over the years.
But is ready for that.
But maybe you kind of want him to, like we've got the Packers coming up twice. We've got the Eagles coming up. We got the Lions coming up. We got some really good defensive fronts, some really good pass rushers coming up.
Big time edge dudes on those teams.
Big time test here for Darnell Wright. Let's see how he responds and if that's something that we can kind of bank on the rest of the stretch here.
Or maybe you start doing it, and if he struggles, then you help, and then all of a sudden Herbig starts to explode.
Yeah.
Or, I'm just curious, especially in like long down and distance, how they handle that. I would think in the run game, you're gonna help on Watt more so than you're gonna help on Herbig for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes,
even Highsmith, but still more in the protection situation here.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you brought that to the forefront. Talk to me about the talented eligibles. Rome.
Yeah.
Luther Burden, the two tight ends, Komet and Loveland. DJ Moore, who's having a great season.
Yeah.
How's the game plan look compared to what we saw last week again and what they did? More zone, more flooding those short intermediate areas like they did against the Bengals. Is that maybe the kind of the game plan, the blueprint once again? Or
I lean that way. I think two high safeties is kind of here to stay. And especially because these guys throw the ball down the field. It's not a quick hitting passing game at all.
They want to take shots.
Right. They play the opposite of how Flacco ripped them up the first time around. They play the opposite of how the Steelers play on offense. So I think you want to take away the deep balls and that kind of stuff and probably play more zone because, as we mentioned, Caleb's a much more dangerous runner, obviously, than Flacco. I mean, you have to worry about him. He's a dangerous runner. So I don't think you want to turn your back to him a ton. And if so, you might have some kind of spy situation or lurk defender in that area. But I don't have a great plan other than that. But I can tell you how they use their guys. Adunze's the one.
Yes.
But, like, if you look at his numbers, he's had some really big weeks. He's had some really low weeks. I mean, he had I think the game they put up the most points, the Cincinnati game, he had 0 catches. Like, how'd that happen? You know what I mean?
How do you score a million points?
Score 50 points or whatever, and this guy's got 0 catches,
yeah.
right? I mean,
it's a testament to everyone else. They
got a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But his efficiency isn't great because they use him deep downfield. Like, they ask him to do hard stuff. Line up on the X and beat the top corner and be downfield. And I think he's going to be
They're not
really
giving
good.
him a lot of those freebie, take the 7 yards that the defense is giving you here.
Not a ton. DJ Moore is a weird one because when they drafted Burden, I thought that was a slap in the face to Moore because they're both similar, good run after the catch, thicker body types. And really, they've relegated Moore to just running a lot of wind sprints. I mean, like, he's just like taking the top off, making room for others, clear out guy. I don't know if he'll be a Bear next year. Maybe he'll be a Steeler. But he's talented, but he's last year his effort was very poor in a really bad situation in Chicago.
Sure.
And when Johnson got hired, he said something along the lines of, everyone here is going to run their routes out and block. Like, it was almost like a shot at the bow to Moore, and then they take Burden in the second round, who's probably his successor a year from now.
Similar skill set a little bit with those two.
And now Burden, though, has knocked Zacchaeus out as the 3, and I could see him having a really big second half of the season. Like, I think he's finally comfortable. I think
Game's
he could
slowing down for him.
Yeah, you see a lot of rookies, if they haven't been overworked early.
This is when it
starts to pick up. Like,
it's almost like they're into their second season.
Exactly.
I mean, like their whole life they've played 10 to 12 games, and now they're hitting that point their first year. And
he was my favorite fantasy pickup this week.
Okay,
yeah, because he's not in a lot of leagues, but he just took over. Zacchaeus is now like totally on the bench. And I'm like, he may even surpass Moore as the number 2 here. So he's a dangerous player. And the tight ends are both just really good players. I mean, Komet's the all-around, not super dynamic, but high-quality pass catcher, but quality blocker. He'll last in the league 8 to 10 years. He's making good money. He's a quality starter for most teams, but not super dynamic. Loveland has a chance to be special.
Yeah.
I mean, he was picked ahead of Warren.
I was just going to say, think of how good Tyler Warren's been this year. He was drafted ahead of him. Just a few picks, but still.
A few picks, but I mean, he's a first-round pick all day long.
Yes.
He's super fluid. I think the reason the Bears chose him instead of Warren, because they had the choice, was if you watch Michigan tape, he's just beating coverage. Everyone's focusing on him, and he's winning with routes.
He was Michigan's offense last year.
Yes, where Warren was at least as productive, but they were just doing anything possible to get him the ball, scheming it up to him, pitching it to him, just like the Colts are. So both teams are happy with their choices. But Loveland's a route runner, a Kelsey, I mean, like that type of dude, and he looks like he's turning a corner too.
He's had a couple
So it's a really good group of receivers.
Oh, they've got guys in the backfield at tight end and at wide receiver who can make plays and who can hurt you. It's a deep plethora.
You take one in the first and second round.
Yeah.
Right? It looks like both could be a hit.
It's a plethora of weapons for Caleb Williams in that offense.
Yep. And they know how to use them.
Spinning the block, Matt, and we've talked about this a little bit. The linebackers out for Chicago, the injuries to the defensive backs. Is this the week to run the football and hit those intermediate routes with what Chicago's got on defense?
I'd like to see more play action. Yeah, the Steelers used to started the season high on the play action scale, and it's really fallen off.
The Pittsburgh plunge,
right? I mean, especially with new linebackers. I always think of linebackers in play action. Like, if I can get you to take a step and a half forward, biting on a good play action fake,
or hesitate for a half second before you retreat,
and Freiermuth is 2 yards behind you or whatever, hit you in that spot. I think that's a perfect spot to manipulate new linebackers. Steelers have also gotten away from motion and some of that stuff too. Not as much, but I would try to put more eye candy out there, especially if Rodgers is your quarterback, because he'll be fine with it. But so would Rudolph. They're a little hard to comment on just because I don't know if Johnson and Gordon are playing.
Which is a big
I would think Johnson's going to be on Metcalf a lot. He hasn't been out there much, so I don't know if he travels or not, but he has a history of doing it. And against this team, I would definitely travel him. That's why you're paying him.
I understand the quarterback situation is a big monkey wrench in all of this.
Yeah.
But I really hope that this is a noticeably more productive week for the Steelers offense.
I 1,000% agree.
I know I said that same. If you go back and listen to the show from 7 days ago, last Friday, it probably said something along the same lines. This Bengals defense can be had. You've struggled on offense a little bit these last couple weeks. Let's go see it.
And it was good against the Bengals, but that's the worst defense in the league.
Yes.
I mean, like it could have and should have been better.
And your offense also scored 20 points. Like, let's not forget, 14 of those 34 were from the defense.
Right. Where most teams were dropping 30 on the Bengals.
Yes.
With pretty regular.
I want to see the offense put up 24, 27, 28 plus points.
Kind of like we talked about Missi, too. I'd love to see 140 yards on the ground.
Yes.
Offensive linemen getting up first down, starting to control things, 34 minutes of time of possession, that type of thing, which is 8 minutes more than the Bears.
Yeah, but if we break it down into pennies and quarters, you're good, Matt Williamson. I think that's a good kind of scene setter in that regard.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Easier said than done, but it feels like a real opportunity to take care of the football, to establish what you do well, and to get back to some of those things that we haven't seen for the last few weeks.
And it's not nearly as stark because their defense isn't as bad as the Bengals, but clearly they're way better on one side of the ball than the other.
Yes.
Way better.
Yes.
And that's where all the resources have gone lately.
Man, that the absence of those three linebackers is a real monkey wrench, a real potential fly in the ointment for everything that they're trying to do from a communication standpoint.
Here's a real quick nerdy nugget, too. Their center, Drew Dahlman, they gave good money to come over from the Falcons. And he's a smaller, very active zone center and does a great job getting to the second level. So keep an eye on him on, like, Queen and Wilson and those guys, too, because he really does a good job of getting up and leading the way downfield.
That's what you need from your new age centers now.
Yeah.
In this National
Smart Stanford
Football League.
dude that's a little small but quick and
Yeah. Kind of sounds a little bit like Zach Frazier.
A little bit. Frazier's more rugged.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, yeah, because he's got that West Virginia tough edge.
Sure.
Those Palo Alto boys out there in Stanford. When we come back on the other side, let's go around the NFL. Huge Week 12 with a lot of playoff implications across the AFC North, and the entire league. We'll discuss that a little bit when we return, but that'll do it for 5-Star Friday.
It's a 5-star matchup because we're in it.
5-star matchup. Everybody we play is a 5-star matchup because we in it.
Going around the NFL when we return. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson on the drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Time to go around the NFL here, as myself and Coach Tomlin would say. The road is narrowing, man.
Road is narrowing, yes.
We've got Thanksgiving next week, and approaching the end of November, and in kind of full playoff swing here, divisional races, wild card, jockeying, all that good stuff. A big week around the NFL. Kind of started last night in a huge win for Houston. That we referenced.
Huge win for Houston.
A little bit. They stay alive. If you felt, some happiness radiating from the northeast quarter of New England, the Patriots get a little boost in their candidacy to win the division.
Real good shape.
That was a weird one for Buffalo last night.
Houston has 2 really tough games coming up and a couple more on the slate.
They do.
But that's a season-saving type of win. Now you get a long week. I presume Stroud will be back,
hopefully,
over those 10 days.
Yeah.
Because Mills is just a caretaker, to say the least. But that's probably the best defense in the league. An incredible pass rush. And Houston ain't dead yet.
Monty Python.
Right.
Matt, that was a big one for them to win at home, because they go to Indianapolis next week and then to Arrowhead to face Kansas City in their next 2 games.
So they have the Colts twice still?
They still have the Colts twice.
Okay.
They still have to go to L.A. to take on the Chargers. They host Arizona and Las Vegas.
I knew there was 2 or 3
you
easy
think those
ones, but there's some rough
should be
ones
wins,
too.
but to Indy and hosting Indy, to Kansas City, to L.A. to face the Chargers. I mean, that's some still challenge for them.
Yeah.
At 6-5. I mean, they probably need to win 4 of their last 6, I would imagine.
I mean, they're on a hot streak. Did they start 0-2?
They started 0-3.
0-3. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? They've won 6 of their
They've
last.
won 6 of their last 8.
8. So
Yes.
I mean, they're back. I just don't know if the math will work out for them.
If their offense can just pick it up a little bit, their
Get
defense
Stroud
is
back
so
and-
good.
Yeah, it's so good. But their receivers are starting to play better. Higgins and those guys, Kirk and those guys. Last nugget. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I still think there are 4 elite tier 1 quarterbacks. They're all in the AFC. I think we know who they are. Might all of them miss the playoffs?
Cool.
It won't happen.
Burrow definitely
Burrow's
is.
done.
I think the Bills are at least going to make a wild card.
I mean, I think probably 2 of them go, but
2 could definitely. One's certainly going to miss, and it wouldn't surprise me if another one did.
I mean, all 3 could go, but I mean, there's a chance all 4
Whew.
miss. I mean,
Great point
like
by you.
I mean, just these teams. There's Baltimore's trending the right way, but the other team.
Weird year in the AFC, man.
Yeah, those teams don't have that many wins.
Weird year in the AFC. Just win the division, Steelers, and host a playoff game, and let's go from there.
Mm-hmm. Let Mahomes come to town.
New England is in Cincinnati, Matt, as 7-point favorites, looking to continue. What are they on? Like an 8-game winning streak, I think it is. The Patriots,
so, yeah.
8 or 9-game winning streak in Cincinnati, 7-point favorites.
I think I'll take the points, or I'll take the Patriots, lay the points.
I think this might be the week that it finally all comes undone for Cincinnati.
Has there been any Burrow news that you heard of? I haven't seen any.
It looks like they're saying there's a chance he could play, but it's more likely still a week away.
They play Thanksgiving Day, I think.
They play Thanksgiving Day, yes.
Yeah, so it's a short week then, but
And no Chase, obviously, who's suspended.
Right.
The defense is still banged up and bad.
that's the thing is I don't know if there's going to be a lot of points.
I give them a little credit for kind of holding the line for a while, but it feels like this
I think
could be
the line's not going to be held much longer.
I'm with you. 7 is
a lot.
Chunky for
Yeah.
a road team. But I think I'll lay the points with the Patriots as well. That's
Me
one
too.
that I'd try and tease down to 5.5. Or
Yeah, I hear you.
something like that. But
There's some big spreads. There's
there's-
some potential blowouts.
I was going to say
week.
this, like last week, there was not many big. I think there was only 1, maybe 2 games that were more than a touchdown. This week, there's a lot.
Like if you're a casual fan, I think there's like 3 or 4 games to concentrate on, and others are
Yes.
not so great.
Like New York at Detroit, where the Lions are 12.5-point favorites at home. Matt, what do Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions do against bad teams?
Especially after getting embarrassed and beat up at home.
I think I'd lay 14.5 here with Detroit. I certainly will 12.5.
And what Moat says sticks with me. You should always take the double digits. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. And he knows his stuff, and he played in the league. But sometimes the Lions are a vengeful group.
They're the one team that you would trust most with a spread this large.
Yes. Okay, like they crushed some teams.
Green Bay at home at Lambeau against Minnesota, one of the classic rivalries in the NFL there. 1 o'clock game on Sunday. Green Bay, they're kind of needing to keep pace as well.
Yeah.
6-point favorites at home against the Vikings. Can the Vikings?
I think that's the right number.
Big one for Minnesota to stay alive, too, in the big picture of things.
I mean, the Kraft injury, and they lost a really good center, has made the Packers very uneven. But McCarthy's playing really poorly right now for the Vikes.
Yes. They've just got nothing at quarterback.
Yeah. I don't feel strong about it. I would not put money on it either way. But I guess I'd take the home team.
I'll lay the points with Green Bay. It's another one I wish was 4.5 instead of 6. But I still think the Packers, at some point, they've got to start really putting it together.
I would think. I think they're a well-coached team with a lot of talent.
One of the biggest spreads of the weekend, Matt. In fact, tied for the biggest spread of the weekend. In Music City, the Titans host the Seattle Seahawks, where Seattle is a 13.5-point favorite despite being on the road.
I'll take the points.
I think in this one I'll take the points.
That's a lot. Zabel's hurt, and the interior of their O-line isn't great, and Sweat and Simmons are actually like the only good thing that the Titans do.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just see Seattle winning, and then
I think
Cam Ward throws a late touchdown, and they're not going to give up.
Seattle's also in a big stretch of like a lot of important NFC games here.
Yeah.
If they're not if they're at a B+ level on Sunday and they still win by 10,
great,
fine.
Business trip to Tennessee.
Tennessee. We're not going to light the world on fire, but we'll go out there and take care of business.
Yep.
But you're right. Maybe a late touchdown for the Titans or something
like
that.
It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points. I am going to take the plus 13.5 with Tennessee on that one. Arrowhead Stadium, and one of the perhaps the game.
I don't know what to think of this one, man.
This is one of those ones. There's a couple games this weekend that if you're a neutral, I think you're really into Pittsburgh, Chicago. I think you're really into Tampa Bay and LA, the Rams versus the Bucks. This is another one.
This is probably the headline of the weekend.
Big for Indianapolis, not necessarily in their playoff case, but their first round bye, number 1 overall seed.
And they're just overall legitimacy.
Yes. And for Kansas City, you're 5-5, man.
If
you fall to 5-6.
Right. Another AFC loss.
Chiefs 3.5-point favorites at home against the Colts.
So what would this line be in Indy?
Kansas City
-1.
It might be a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Kansas City -1.
I don't know if Kansas City's better than the Colts. I mean, I get that there's more to games than just who's better on paper, et cetera.
Is this like the third time in the last 4 weeks we've said, well, we're going to find out about the Chiefs this weekend?
That's what I said on my other podcast. I was picking games. It's like, I'm sick of doing it every week. Like, oh, they'll get it figured out. They're the Chiefs. And they could win this game by 25, and I would not be shocked.
They could win
one bit.
The next 7 in a row,
to
finish
be the best
12-5. It wouldn't shock me.
Be number 2 in the power ranks when the playoffs come around.
Yes.
That absolutely could happen. But I'll take the points. I mean, Indy's coming off a bye.
That's
healthy.
I forgot about that angle too.
I wouldn't touch it, but
I'm with you. And if it's 2.5, I'd feel a lot better about Kansas City than 3.5. I think I'm with you. I think I'll take the points. Listen, I've been the one that's been kind of crushing the Chiefs the last week or two, so I gotta stick by my guns here.
I've been the opposite. I'm like, oh, they're about to turn around, but then they don't.
Give me Indy plus 3.5. Tied for the biggest spread of the weekend with that Titans-Seattle game that we just mentioned is the Jets traveling to Baltimore, where the Ravens are 13.5-point favorites. I think I'm taking the points. Ravens win, but I don't know, man. The Jets are another organization that's shown some life.
They weren't horrible after trading everybody away.
They're also coming off of, they played last Thursday, right? So they've got a little bit longer.
What did they do last week?
They lost to the Patriots last Thursday, so they've got that 10-day preparation time as well.
Give me the birdies, but I don't feel great about it. That's a lot of points, man.
It's a lot
I don't
to
think
lay.
they'll get challenged in the game, but that's not the question.
It could be another one of those Baltimore's up 13-17 the entire way, and the Jets score a late touchdown, and
we're getting Tyrod Taylor.
That
might be better for our,
I just don't believe in Baltimore's ability to blow anybody out really at this point.
I don't think they're really that team either, but I'm going to take them anyway, reluctantly.
Matt, in one of these games that they should have these teams play at the end of the year to decide who gets the number 1 overall pick. In Las Vegas, in the entertainment capital, I never remember, is that LA or is that Vegas? Regardless, in Las Vegas, the Browns face the Raiders in what is, shocker, by far, by a good 9 points, 8 points, the lowest over-under of the week.
Oh, it's got to be, yeah.
Vegas a 4-point favorite at home against the Browns.
I don't think they should be a 4-point favorite or anyone. They're playing terrible right now.
They are, but I don't know. I don't think the Browns should be favorited over anyone either.
I'm taking Cleveland, though.
Yeah?
I'm not a Sanders believer, but he's going to complete more than 1 out of 4 passes. I think the Raiders might be the worst team. And
they might.
Myles Garrett might get the 20 sacks in this game. Their defense is clearly the best unit.
Well, in 2025, my boy Gino loves to take sacks.
He loves to take sacks. Loves it. I don't like where the Raiders are at all.
Still, 4 points is a lot.
Yeah.
I should just take them.
I'm just taking the points.
I should just take the points.
I think they're equally bad teams, and the defense for Cleveland is the best unit by far.
This might be a cop-out. I'd stay away from the line, and I'd just take the under 36.5 points. This one feels like...
Yeah. I don't know enough about betting, but I know I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but low over-unders, take the points,
Yes. 17-10 final score or something like that.
13-10,
Yeah. I'm with you. I will take Cleveland +4 just because that's a chunkier number for 2 bad teams, but I would really go with the under 36.5 if I had to.
Part of me thinks the Raiders should be 32nd in power rankings. They're pretty miserable.
Hard again, like we said, out of their bye week, there was at least some signs of life, but they've gone right back to
it's rough.
To Monty Python. You'll be stone cold dead in a moment. In Arizona, Jacksonville looking to continue to stay on the right path against the Cardinals. They are 3-point favorites on the road at State Farm Stadium.
I'm not a believer that Jacksonville figured things out all of a sudden.
Same, but I think they're a much better team than the Cardinals.
The Cardinals are really banged up.
Much better coached.
Harrison's out again. They got issues. Are they ready to go cover spreads on the other coast?
I'd like this more if it was 2.5 as opposed to 3. But I'm still going to lay the lay the points with Jacksonville.
I'm with you, but it's made my least favorite bet that we've mentioned.
In Matt, what's an intriguing one? Not maybe quite to the extent of Colts, Chiefs, or Rams, Bucks, but Philadelphia in Dallas.
I'm really intrigued by this one.
Huge rivalry, right? Did you see the video? Tyler pointed it out to me. I was dying. It was going viral at a Philadelphia elementary school this morning. They dressed up a bunch of punching bags as Dallas Cowboys players.
Oh, really?
So Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Quinn and Williams. And they had the kids doing a boxing class for gym class, but they were beating up on on Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb.
It's very Philadelphia.
Very Philadelphia. The most Philly thing I've seen in a long time since my in-laws were last in town. In Dallas at Jerry World. Desperate one for the Cowboys. Big for Philly still in the sense of they want to get that number 1 seed in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Philly 3.5-point favorites in Big D.
So I just said awful things about the Raiders, and Dallas whipped up on them pretty good. So I would want to take that with a grain of salt, considering who Dallas just played. But I don't think Dallas, by any stretch, is a Bengal-level defense anymore.
Absolutely not.
No, Quinnen looked like a grizzly bear out there. Block that guy. And they got a lot of dudes back. Lane Johnson is out.
That's important.
Their offense is all that bickering that's always happening in Philadelphia is going on now. They don't throw the ball well. And I think the Eagles' D is as good as anyone's but Houston's maybe. And Mitchell's going to be on Pickens, it sounds like a lot. Or Lamb, whatever. I expect a low-scoring, tough, close game. So I'm taking points.
This is a tough one because there is part of me that I feel like Philly is the birds are taken off, to use a bad pun there. And what happened for Dallas last week was a little bit of fool's gold because the Raiders are so bad.
Because they're so bad, yeah.
Like we talked about, I know that game was in Vegas, but it was 80% Cowboys fans. It was like and they jumped on them early, and then it was just snowball effect downhill. Right. I could see Philadelphia coming out and putting the clamps on the Cowboys and grabbing them by the collar, and, hey, I know you've got this great offense, but we're still the big dog. But 3.5 for a road game, for a rivalry like this is another one I wouldn't want to touch. I don't know, though. I think I'm leaning towards laying the points with the Eagles.
Okay. I think it's like 2018. I think it's tight, neck and neck down the whole stretch. The offense is hard to come by.
I certainly think that could be a case. I'm going to lead towards the Eagles. A little bit of fool's gold with Dallas playing better last week. I'll lay the 3.5 with Philly. A couple more here, Matt. In New Orleans, Atlanta against the Saints. This one, I think you could probably find a ticket to get in for.
Yeah.
You could bring a soup can for the soup drive, and they'll let you in the stadium there at the Superdome. New Orleans, a 2.5-point favorite at home.
So I could be so wrong on this. I think the Saints win. Like, people up in Pittsburgh area don't realize that these two teams really hate each other. It just hasn't.
This is a good rivalry. This is an underrated NFL rivalry.
It just doesn't mean much. It's not like Ravens, Steelers.
A lot of those NFC South rivalries are really underrated.
They're better than you think.
But it's because the team they're always like 7-9.
Right, the 6-10 team beat a 5-11 team, and I think that's what this is. But it's in New Orleans, coming off a bye. No Penix. I don't think London's playing. I think that Atlanta's in a really bad spot, and I think Kellen Moore's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Saints to win.
I think so, too. I think the Falcons, after showing a little bit of life, are cooked now.
I think they're in a bad spot.
I think they're in a bad spot.
I think Cousins is shot.
Cousins has looked terrible. And, hey, he could go out and play well. Wouldn't shock me.
Sure. They're the more talented team. I think we know that. Bijan might run for 200.
I think Atlanta is another one of those Cancun on 3 type teams now where they're thinking about January and their plans for the post-season, not their NFL postseason, but what they're going to do post the season ending.
Yeah, right. And I think the Rams just sit there going, keep losing games, and we'll give you your first round pick.
Excellent. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like they're not
have their first round pick.
Man, it's a rough spot for Atlanta right now. I'll lay the 2.5 with the Saints to win a close one.
I don't expect a ton of points
by 3 or 4 points.
Right. Shuck hasn't been bad.
He has not.
Right.
That's your man. That's your boy. And I think he's got a good opportunity. Falcons' defense is better than what they've been, but still some opportunity for the Saints to make some plays. And then finally, Sunday Night Football, a good one. I'm hoping. I think we'll be landed back in time for me to at least catch most of the. I might miss the first series or two in the first quarter, but Sunday Night Football, the Rams against the Bucs. I think a Super Bowl favorite contender.
Yeah, I think
in
they're
the
the best team in
Rams
the league right now.
Against a really good team in the Bucs as well. The Rams are a 7-point favorite at home.
It's a bit too many points for me.
It is a cross-coast, type game for the Bucs.
But it's a night game.
I think
that helps.
I think it's easier for the East Coast teams going west as opposed to vice versa.
Mm-hmm. I saw today there's a chance Godwin plays. They've been down a weapon.
I think I might take the points for the Bucs. I think the Rams win, but I think I'll take a touchdown.
Yeah, I will too. I think Tampa's well coached. They're kind of struggling right now, going through a tough time, but I think they can keep it within 7.
Matt, you want to know something crazy here? So I always, when I pull up this schedule, they always have like the StubHub, get your tickets here.
Oh, yeah. What they cost. And
tickets as low as. And as you can imagine, cheapest ones in the league are New Orleans for the Atlanta game.
I'm sure Raiders, Browns.
Tennessee for the Titans game.
Yeah.
Browns and Raiders. Although, again, the Raiders tickets never get that cheap just because it's a destination.
People go and gamble.
When you're Cleveland, you see this Browns fans, you see this come out, back in the summertime, and you're like, oh, let's go to Vegas for the weekend.
They might leave at halftime and go to the casinos. But
especially this time of year where it's still 70 degrees in Vegas, and a lot of these, Northeast corridor teams,
I guess their tickets wouldn't
Midwest
go down
teams,
to $7 or whatever, right?
So, pretty expensive ticket in Kansas City, as you can imagine. Pretty expensive ticket in Green Bay, as you can imagine. Matt, by far, like 3 times as much as the next highest price. Most expensive get-in game is Steelers-Bears.
Really?
Tickets as low as, that's the cheapest get-in price, $408.
Holy smokes.
Next highest around the league is Lambeau Field, where you can get in for about $170.
Does that imply to you that there'll be a lot of Steeler fans there?
That implies to me that there will be a decent amount of Steelers fans there.
Yeah.
And
if you're going to go there, you'll pay more than...
It's a Bears fan base that is starving for success and is really jacked. I think it's a combination of both.
They got to be so psyched about the Bears right now.
It's a Steelers fan base that Matt, particularly, and I've laid this out with you before, when the Steelers go to places like this where they only travel every few years, Steelers fans always show up.
Yeah.
And then it's a fan base in Chicago that's been waiting to get this jacked up about their team for a long time.
Oh, yeah. They've been winning a lot of games. They got a quarterback, right?
So I think it's a combination.
That makes a ton of sense.
That's wild.
And they're both two really good fan bases.
Yes.
Bears fans are legit. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, more than double the price of the next lowest get-in. I tell you what, hope you got your tickets already, because they got a lot more expensive over the last few weeks as this Bears team has everyone's attention there throughout Chicago and throughout that fan base as well. We'll talk about that game, specific predictions and scores and final thoughts before we get out of here on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, it's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. And here we go. Final segment of the week. Steelers, Bears, a big one for both of these teams, both of these organizations, both of these fan bases. Matt, one final stat for you before we give some predictions and get out of here. Career wins at Soldier Field.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers is pretty high.
Caleb Williams, 6. Aaron Rodgers, 12.
Wow.
Now I realize it's only Caleb Williams' sophomore season.
Yeah, that's not even a knock on him necessarily, right?
But it's just always startling when you see. I bet you, other than Rex Grossman and Jay Cutler, Aaron Rodgers probably has more wins there in the 21st century than any Bears quarterback.
I would
probably
think.
Other than Grossman and Cutler.
Yeah.
He's probably number 3.
Is he more than Trubisky? I mean,
Probably close.
I mean, they had 1 year that they think they went to the playoffs.
They did, you're
Trubisky,
right, where they won double-digit games. But
still, what's that, 6 wins at home, you know?
Yeah.
It's still hard to get to 12. I mean.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It really is. And I think Ben might still have the most for the Browns.
I think he's second behind Mayfield.
I think Mayfield did finally pass him. Yeah. You're right. That sounds.
But there was a lot. I mean, he went many, many years as the winningest quarterback in that building, which is nuts.
Which is absolutely wild. And you know what? That's probably, we were talking about the insane ticket prices now in the secondary market for this game. The Aaron Rodgers factor is real in that too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
A lot of people from that part of the country that are Packers fans that were probably planning on going down to see their Bolton, make a weekend out of Chicago, I'm sure
Bears fans aren't real fond of Rodgers
either.
Bears
fans who want to go to this game and scream and tell Aaron Rodgers how much they hate his guts. Matt,
you're first.
Bears
lead it off.
2.5-point favorites. This, I think, has been the hardest game to pick all year.
I still don't know who I've gone back and forth.
Vikings game was tough to pick because Minnesota was playing really well at that point. The Steelers were still trying to find some identity stuff on offense and defense.
I changed my mind when I got the Dublin.
You and I both.
Right.
I was
planning
on picking. I was planning on picking the Vikings, and then just with the atmosphere there and the crowd and the history in the moment, went with the Steelers. I thought the Colts game was a hard one to pick. I thought the Chargers game was a hard one to pick. This is difficult.
I think it's difficult too because turnovers are very unpredictable, and these
and it's
two
such
teams
a huge part of it.
Huge part of this.
If you tell me that one of these teams is +3 in the turnover margin,
I pick them all day long.
Pick them all day long.
Yeah.
If it ends up though that there's both teams take care of the football, or maybe there's just one turnover in this game,
maybe it doesn't come up. Yeah.
I think it's lower scoring though. The over-under is 45.5, which isn't a massive number, but it's not a low number either. But I keep coming back to something weird, something wonky, like 19-7 or 17. Pardon me, 19-17 for either side. I don't know who I'm going to pick, but I think I might be leaning towards Chicago a little bit.
Okay.
At least I was all week until that injury report just came out and how banged up their defense is.
I know.
19-17 Steelers.
Okay.
Screw it. That's what I'm going with.
I'm going 24-23 Bears.
Okay.
I just think home, a lot of momentum, a lot of respect for their offense. But I think the Steelers should move the ball and run the ball. And I love that linebacker news. I mean, that's a position you don't like to be super weak at. Very few teams are strong, but just not to be terrible at. because there's really no answers to protect them.
No, it's like the spine of your defense.
Right, absolutely. So I don't feel good at all about my pick, but I am taking the Bears to win 24-23.
I'll take Steelers 19-17. But it might be the least confident I've been in a pick all year.
It's definitely my least confident. Not that I've been picking winners left and right, but when we pick them on Fridays, it's the one that I feel the least strong about.
It's just tough to pinpoint Chicago at this point.
Yeah.
Too, because they've won 7 of their last 8 games, which is impossible to ignore. But they're a younger upstart team, and when does that bubble burst a little? When does the water find its level?
Yeah.
Not even when does Cinderella turn back into a pumpkin, but just when does water find its level a little bit with them?
Can you do me a quick favor?
I sure can.
And those 7 of 8 wins, who are they against? Because it's a very weak group, but 7 out of 8 against anyone.
Dallas, Las Vegas, Washington, New Orleans, Cincinnati, the Giants, and the Vikings. Woof.
That's about as bad as it gets.
And they lost to Baltimore, Detroit, and Minnesota. So they split with Minnesota.
And the Baltimore and Detroit game, they got blown out, right?
Correct. I mean, they lost by 2 touchdowns to in the NFL.
They were big, yeah.
Arthur Moats, anything more than a touchdown is a blowout in the NFL. They got creamed by Detroit second week of the season. Lost a close one to Minnesota to open the year. Remember that back and forth? Mm-hmm. Was that the first Monday night game? I want to say
sounds about right.
So yeah, you're right.
But I think they're playing way better now than they were the first 2 weeks of the season.
Absolutely, but they have not beat a team with the winning record. Steelers would be the first one. Dallas looks like
the Washington win doesn't look good.
No, at the time it looked okay because they still had Jaden Daniels and I think the Cowboys win they blew out the Cowboys. They did. That's a decent win.
It's still a really good Cowboy offense then. The defense was horrible then, but still.
Like this is one of those moments, if this is Bears Nation radio, like we always like to say, I think you feel like you're playing with house money a little bit.
Oh, no doubt.
Because you got an easier schedule to start. You took advantage of it. You're firmly in the playoff race.
As an organization for the season, you're ahead of schedule.
And you, again, you've got, other than the Cleveland game in mid-December, you've got the Steelers. Then you go to Philadelphia. Then you go to Green Bay. You host the Packers. You host the Niners. Mm-hmm. You go to Detroit. It's like if you're a Bears fan, it's like, this is what we want. You know?
Oh, we're very relevant.
I don't want to backdoor into the playoffs playing a bunch of bad teams. I want to see what we got against some real playoff caliber, Super Bowl caliber opponents. And here you go. Yeah. Here's the beginning of it.
If I was a Bears fan right now, I'm like, okay, now can we show that we can just stand in the ring, go toe-to-toe with the remaining of our schedule?
Yeah.
Go 500, maybe even win one more than we lose. Not get embarrassed against the Eagles and teams like that. And I'm feeling real good about where I'm at.
Absolutely. To use the gunfighter analogy that Mike Tomlin used to use with Ben Roethlisberger all the time. You're gonna get shot. Gunfighters get shot, but they also take out some targets along the way. You're going to get shot in this final 7-game stretch if you're Chicago. But
they're not going to win 7 out of 8 going forward.
But can you hit a couple bullseyes too?
Sure.
And then
And can you get up after you get shot?
House money, exactly right. If you just get into the playoffs, it feels like a huge success with this young team and young offense and first-year head coach. It's a big one for a lot of different reasons and going to be a lot of fun there.
I'd be really shocked if it's a blowout either way.
Same.
I bet this comes down to a Boz kick.
We said a lot the last few weeks. We said it before Green Bay. We said it before Indianapolis. If this is a comfortable win either way that we're talking about on Monday, it wouldn't shock us.
Yeah.
It would shock me. It wouldn't have shocked me if the Steelers lost or beat the Packers by 10. Wouldn't have shocked me if the Steelers lost or beat the Colts by 10. This one, if this is more than a touchdown final score, I think I'll be shocked.
100%. And the last thing I wanted to throw out just before we leave, I'm scrolling my Twitter feed here. The stuff in the last 2 minutes is nuts from this team, and I don't think
it's historic.
It's historic. They have 5 wins that have come in the last 2 minutes of the game
already.
Yeah. Which is the most.
They have 7 games to play.
It's like the most in NFL history, and it's not even Thanksgiving.
That's
impressive. So many of their games come down to the last minute. I can't find it, but whatever. I nailed it. It's right in that neighborhood.
And hey, we know that that's a strength historically of the Steelers under Mike Tomlin is playing those close one-score games. So
right.
another
But they have crazy games with the Bears.
Another game within the game, storyline to keep an eye on once things get going on Sunday. Matt, fun stuff. Enjoyed this week. Thought we had a good week of shows here leading up to a big game. Big thanks to all of our guests this week. Big thanks to Missi Matthews for joining us today. TV, Mr. Tyler V for being our video producer and statistician and resident helper. And for Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. You know the drill. On Monday, win, lose, or draw, we'll be back to break it all down with you right here on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers